Hi guys, hope you all are doing well. Today I just wanted to chat about like how I'm taking care of my mental health with everything like the chaos that's been going on in the world. Well, it's not exactly easy, and I think everyone is struggling. I'm also struggling. I'm making chai right now. This is also, by the way, a part of my mental health strategy. I think that a cup of chai every single day really does help to calm down my nerves. One of the things that I realize that helps me the most is actually creating content. There's that saying that the best artists of the world were born during eras of like really dark times. Like when there were wars going on and there was difficult times. It created the best artists, and I think that's actually true even now if you think about it, because all of this meme culture and all of this like coping mechanisms that we have developed right now is, I think, a manifestation of what we are going through, which is really dark times. The economy is at its very worst and the world is going to shit. It seems like every single day there's news headlines that we have to read, which almost feels comical at times. So I think that now we have decided to cope with it with humor, with very dark humor. And now that as a result of that we have the meme culture. But my point here is like I think that one of the best ways to make sure that you are taking care of your mental health is actually to create content, to create some kind of art. It doesn't have to be content. So like whatever it is that you can do, like if you want to write a journal, if you want to paint, if you want to do something where it would help you to express your feelings, like put your, like give an outlet to what you're feeling inside. That is something I would recommend. It might end up being something really nice that you can, look back on later on. Sometimes when I read my journal, like I don't journal all the time, like I journal a couple times a year, but there is a specific date that I put on my journal. And then when I read it, like a couple years down the line, it just transports me back to that specific moment in my life and what I was going through. And it gives me such a fresh perspective on how like it gives me a bigger picture of how things have changed. Because most of the times you're only thinking about like the daily changes. You're not looking at your own life like 5 years before and 5 years after. So I think journaling really does help to do that. So even if it does not amount to anything, you will have something to look back on years down the line and be like, oh, I did write this and this is what I was going through. Because the times right now, I think like these few years are going to go down in history as some of the most important, devastating, terrible years. I don't think this is normal situations and normal timelines that we are in. So yeah, it would be kind of like a story that you get to tell your grandkids, be like, how we lived through COVID. So we can always talk about COVID with our grandkids and be like, this is what we went through. And I think this is another one of those things that we can tell our kids, that we went, we lived through 2024, we lived through 2025, we lived through 2026 as just like those really difficult years. So document, create art, that's one thing. Second thing, I think the most important one actually is to put controls on your screen time. And I know that you're watching it on YouTube, but I think that even though I'm a content creator, I still have to like protect my own sanity. And one of the most important ways I can do that is by cutting back on my screen time. It's very difficult. It's very almost impossible for me to do it. I don't know how people do it. But I think that even if you take 1 hour away from your phone, like at night, right before bed, like bed, you're not allowed to take your phones to your bed. Like it can go on the nightstand, but it cannot go to your bed. Even a thing as simple as that can help you. And I'm not saying that you don't need to be aware about what's happening. Of course, we need to be aware, and if there's something you can do, then you want to do that. But if like most of the times we're in situations where we are bombarded with news and we're bombarded with so much information and media, but there isn't anything that we can do. So that ends up making you feel very helpless. So I feel like there's not a whole lot of point if you just want to consume, 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 and you can't really do anything about it. Okay, now let's talk over a cup of chai that I just made. And the last thing that I think is the most important thing actually is what's keeping me going during these tough times is my fire dream. So, a lot of people, a lot of immigrants who are here have plans to retire back in their home country, and I'm also one of those people. So my fire dream is keeping me alive. Although I don't really have the fire money, like my fire plan is just me. I hope I'll figure something out when I go back, but my dream of returning back, my dream of living close to my parents, my extended family, living in a lot of like a big plot of land, that's also been one of my dreams. and building a one-storied house in a big plot of land. That actually keeps me going, you know, like I feel like everything else is just noise. And I try to tune everything else out and just focus on what is important, and focus on things that I can actually contribute to, instead of, you know, like there's that saying, I don't know if you guys have come across that saying, but if it's not in your hands, then it deserves to be out of your head. And I think that's very, very true, because if there's something that you cannot control, there's really no point overthinking it. You know, there's really no point wasting your energy, you know, giving yourself such a hard time about certain things, because what's meant to happen is going to happen. So ultimately, I think the realization that has happened for me is that control is an illusion, security is an illusion. I know I'm sounding like some hippie, but you know, it really is. Like the sense of security that we are all craving might just be an illusion at this point. You know, like I feel like it doesn't exist, no matter what you do. And whatever is meant to happen is going to happen. So ultimately, it's about relinquishing control. It's about giving it up and accepting the reality for what it is, which is obviously not ideal for a lot of us. So that has helped. But I mean, really do not underestimate the power of a cup of chai, you guys. Like, I know that a lot of people are on a diet and, you know, they think that chai is not good for them. Like, I drink lactose-free milk, so I make chai with lactose-free milk. And if you don't want to rely on other vices like alcohol or smoking and stuff like that, I think chai is actually really healthy, you know. I made mine without sugar today. It wasn't intentional. I usually drink it with sugar. But anywho, I mean, I feel like this really helps too. But yeah, you know, I decided to make this video because I think a lot of the people are really struggling with coping mechanisms, because their normal coping mechanisms just cannot help in the situation that we are in right now. You know, before, like a couple years ago, when I was stressed and when I was dealing with something, I used to just work out, sweat it out, do something like go outside, and it helped. And now I think it's beyond that. I think we are really in the trenches. So that's actually that's the reason I made this video. And I think that we should all be communicating, looking for people who are in similar boats. And you know, we cannot underestimate the value of a human connection. I think getting together with your friends in whatever way that's possible or convenient, hanging out with like-minded people, I think those are all very important things and can be helpful. I hope you guys like this video. I will be making more of these, so please subscribe to my channel. Bye. Oh, hold on. So this pink cup, this actually is a gift from a friend, and the pink the teapot is matching. So